Ashley at Bookish Realm, and I'm back with another video. Today I am here to do a review of Raybearer by Jordan E. Fueko, as well as my Dreamcast. So I am doing this as part of the Hear Our Voices tour, so I would like to say thank you to them for allowing me to be a part of this tour, and I would also like to thank Abram Books for sending me an advanced reader copy of this book. I have constantly said for like the past month or so that 2020 has been such a rough year, but we are getting some great books out of 2020, and I think that Raybearer definitely is no different. This is such a great debut YA fantasy. It is about a young girl by the name of Terasai, and she is living in this house in a very isolated environment. There are servants and caretakers there, but they don't really interact with her. And then as a reader, you find out that she is being raised by this individual who is her mother, but she's only known as the lady. And she is raising Terasai essentially in hopes of her becoming a part of the Crown Prince's Council of 11. So this Council of 11 has basically been established by the global empire of Eretzar, and what it does is it connects all of the kingdoms that are part of this empire together in service to the crown prince who would later become the emperor. And it's so unique because everybody that is part of the council is linked by this ray, and this ray is something that builds this attachment that's even deeper than blood, and you really see that as a reader. At first I was kind of wary about the fact that I was like, okay, so deeper than blood, like how close can they get? And they are very, very, very close. And it's so unique because each council member represents a different kingdom that's part of this empire, and everybody brings different things to the table, and it builds this unique family of sorts. But the catch with this is that Terasai has been told by the lady that she must infiltrate the Council of 11 and kill the Crown Prince. In the beginning, we have no idea why she's given these orders, but eventually through the development of the book, you find out why she wants this Crown Prince dead and why she feels like Terasai must be the one to do it. I think I loved the magic system and the world building so much in this book. That was kind of like the highlight of my read. At first I was a little confused because it's super complex. We're dealing with 11 to 12 different kingdoms. Each kingdom has its own personality, its own people, its own culture, and Fueko does such a brilliant job describing all of those aspects. So at first I was like, I don't know if I could keep up, but I did. It just became a natural part of the text. And then it has this unique magic system. I think the whole concept of this Council of 11 being connected by what they call the Ray is phenomenal. And then there are some religious aspects to it that don't necessarily deal with traditional West African religions like the Orisha. It goes beyond that. It's something that she has developed on her own, and I think that tying in that religious aspect to explain the magic system, and then how this magic system has differentiated between each kingdom, you could tell that she took such a long time to thoroughly build and developed all of that information, and I really appreciated that. Another aspect of this book that I really enjoyed was the character development. I think it was very interesting that we got to see some of the characters from the time that they were children develop until they were late teens. So we kind of see their traits develop and grow, and then we got to see them build these long-lasting relationships and friendships with each other. So I know that we always give YA a bad rap sometimes about constantly having romance and how romance doesn't need to be included, but I think all of that is so well done, and it's clear that she wanted to mainly focus on strong friendships. I thought at one point there was going to be a love triangle, and there wasn't, but I thought it was going there, and it wasn't a love triangle, and it was definitely more so an emphasis on building those strong relationships that we can have that are just bases in friendships. They don't have to be romantic interests, and I love that. I love that so much because you can tell that these characters really care about each other. They would go to the end of the earth for each other. They would definitely die for each other. You feel all of that intense energy and love and respect that they have for each other. And I think that was probably one of the most beautiful parts of this book. The only criticism that I do have of this book is that the pacing was off in some sections. I felt like the first half of the book was particularly slow in some parts, and I think that just was because we were building up to what the characters were going to be and what the world was going to be. But then I found that the second half of the book was much faster. I usually don't do well with that because it makes me feel like I want to stop reading the book, but then I keep pushing through so I can get to that good part. And I think that pacing for me is more of a personal thing, but it did throw me off just a little bit. I did end up giving this one 4.5 out of 5 stars. If you guys have not pre-ordered this book, or if you were questioning whether you need to get it, please pick it up, because I definitely cannot wait to have the second book in my hands. I need it. I should have had it. I don't know how I'm gonna wait until next year. I guess I'm gonna have to wait till next year because I don't have a choice, but it definitely was well worth it. Okay, y'all, so on to the second part of this video, which is my dream cast. So I picked my dream cast based off of the descriptions that we were given in the book, my interpretation of the descriptions that were given in the book. I think some of them are going to be spot on. Others, I think I'm going off of what I think that these characters would possibly look like and how these actors and actresses could really portray the emotional, mental, and physical aspects of these characters. But I really did have fun going through this and figuring out who I would like to see if this ever got picked up on the big screen or as a TV series. So the first person, of course, is our main character, Terasai, and for Terasai, I decided to go with Burgundy Baker, who is known for her role in The Shy, and I just really gravitated towards choosing her because even just physical features, we get this description of Terasai having warm brown skin, her and the lady, and having these high cheekbones, and I just feel like Baker would just bring this badass energy to her character, and I would just appreciate seeing her play this role. For the lady, I chose Viola Davis, and the reason why I chose Viola Davis is because I feel like she is such a dynamic actress in general. I feel like she is versatile. I've seen her in roles where she's super hardcore, and then I've seen her in roles where she is very mother-like and very warm and very kind, and I think that that type of actress is going to be needed to play the role of the lady, because you see different aspects of the lady. You see this cold, unfriendly, standoffish person, and then in some parts you see this warm and caring and loving individual, and you're going to need someone that's going to be able to take the different personality traits depending upon what lens the lady is being viewed from, and I think Viola Davis is very capable of doing that. The next character is Kathleen, and Kathleen is kind of like a nursemaid slash caretaker slash babysitter to Terasai as she's growing up, and Kathleen is described as having like tawny skin, green eyes, and curly hair. And for Kathleen, I think I would like to see Gugu Mbatha Raw play her on screen. I think the first time I saw her was in Beyond the Lights, and she played a very persnickety type character in Beyond the Lights. I think she had the ability to be snarky at some times, and I think that Kathleen is a snarky character. She is kind, but she also has this edge to her that I think she would do an excellent job playing. So the next person I have on my list is Wu In, and he is also a nursemaid slash caretaker for Terasai as she's growing up, and for this role I chose Harry Shum Jr., and I chose him for a couple of reasons. So he's had a few roles that I've seen him in. I know he played Magnus Bane. He also was a part of the Glee cast, and because those two roles are so strikingly different, I thought that he would make a great choice for Wu In. And the reason why I decided to select him was because Wu In has, in my opinion, two different personalities that we see in this book. There's one part of his personality that is very heartwarming and loving and kind and gentle, and then this other part that is sarcastic and kind of dark because of his experiences that he's been through. Owen went through a whole lot in this book. Even if all of it wasn't necessarily on page, he did go through so much. So I think that Harry would do a great job at balancing the two sides to him that we would need to see on screen. The next person that I have is Alubade, and this is the Emperor, and I decided to go with Sterling K. Brown. I found out about Sterling K. Brown initially through This Is Us, and then I know that I also saw him play in the beginning part of Black Panther. I just feel like he has that energy and vibe in which he would make a good emperor, and that he could take that dark and obsessive side that the Emperor had in this book and really play that role well. The next character is Dio, who is actually the Crown Prince, and for his role I chose Denzel Whitaker. I think that Dio is very sweet, he's very kind. I think he has a part of him that's naive. He is not the most like built or buff guy that's out there, but I think that he would be a perfect, when I say he, I mean Denzel, I think that he would be a perfect addition to the cast in playing him, because I feel like he would be able to capture that sweetness and kindness. I remember the first time I saw him was in The Great Debaters, and then he also had a small role in Black Panther, but I just think that his personality would work well within this movie. The next character is Jeet, and Jeet Sanjeet is Jeet for short. I think that I would go with Manish Dayal, and I first time saw him was in the 100-foot journey. I believe that's the title of the movie. It was like the restaurants are like right across the street from each other. It's 100 feet in between the two. And I absolutely loved him in that movie. I think that Jeet is a very complicated character as well. That's one thing about this book, is that a lot of the characters are super complex. They have so many different sides. They're multidimensional, which is a great aspect for a book. But Jeet has gone through so much as well, and he has this gift where he is able to spot the weaknesses of individuals, and I think that he has this softer side of him that he only really lets Terasai see in the beginning, and it takes her breaking him out of his shell. I think I would like to see Manish play in this role, because in the 100-foot journey he had that softer side of him, but also this very determined and hardcore I need to succeed part, which I think we also see in Jeet's character. The next character is Kira, and Kira is a very close friend of Terasai, and I chose Sofia Boutella for this role. I specifically wanted to seek an actress for this role that was Muslim, and the only reason why I say that is because in the text, Kira is often known for wearing a prayer cloth on her head at all times, and I think that that is indicative of a character that possibly has a Muslim background. So I would love to go with Sophia, and I would be interested in seeing her play Kira and seeing if she could soften her role to play Kira. I saw her in The Mummy, and she was very hardcore, which Kira can be hardcore, but she also has this very soft and calming atmosphere about her, and I think that Sophia would be able to handle that role. The next character that I have is Mbali, and Mbali is a character that kind of oversees all of the kids that come that are supposed to be competing to become part of the Council of 11. She has this very warm and mother-like nature about her. She's a very, very kind character. And for this, I would like to see Kerry Washington play, because even though Mbali is kind, I think she's very strong. I think she's very independent. I think she's very headstrong about her beliefs and what she's willing to stand for, while also having that kind heart and nature about her. So I would love to see her play in that role. Next is Thaddeus, and Thaddeus is often described as pale with green eyes, and I wasn't sure if that meant necessarily that he was supposed to be white. So I decided to go with Jesse Williams for this role. Jesse Williams is just a very attractive actor, and Thaddeus, although it's never explicitly said that Thaddeus is attractive, Thaddeus moves with this grace and this aura about him that you would feel like he would just be this badass character that was like really attractive. He also has this role of being like the High Lord Judge, so he has to make these decisions, and he can be cutthroat about his decisions if he wanted to be, but he's not always like that. And I just feel like Jesse Williams, ever since I saw him in Grey's Anatomy, I'm like, I feel like he would make a great Thaddeus, and he already has the eyes to fit. And for the last person on this list for the role of Melu, I have Jaimin Hansu, and Melu is this very interesting character. He is this enslaved spirit, and he is also Terasai's father, and how he is Terasai's father is pretty messed up, but essentially he is, and he is described in a way that I think is very fitting of Hansu and roles that he has played. I think he would take on that mysterious and dark role that Melu seems to play in the beginning of the book as well as towards the end. But there's also this kindness in him and this seriousness and intelligence that I think Hansu would be able to brilliantly show across the screen. Alright y'all, that is my review and my dream cast of Raybearer. I hope you all have enjoyed it. Like I said before, if you haven't checked out this video, I highly recommend checking it out. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button. If you're looking for ways to support my channel, be down in the links below. If you're looking to follow me on social media, that would be down below as well. And I'll be back with another video soon. Bye.